my biggest fear is doing something that I don't want to do for the rest of my life. So I have to go as hard as possible right now to make sure that everything works in my favor.
All right, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Procrastination Radio Show. I'm your host, Ian Complex, and today we have a very special, very talented guest with us today. Roc Chamberlin, how you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing excellent as always. How about you?
I'm doing good. I not to make it like too on the nose, but I've been diving into your stuff ever since we kind of locked down this interview,
Yeah.
and today especially, I just was getting very excited. And it was like there was something in the world just kind of like giving me this interview today because then I saw on one of my friend's story the performance yesterday. So I wanted to ask
Yeah.
how that was before we get into the conversation. How'd that go?
So that last night was crazy. It was exactly what I expected it to be. I played some stuff off of obviously Speed of Light, but yesterday I kind of felt like it was more focused on dance. So I did a little bit more of some unreleased stuff off of Liquid Dinosaurs. I had Blade come out for a song. I brought out usually for all my shows I bring out everybody, but yesterday I had brought out Suze, and that was the first time that I bring Suze out because we're actually working on
Word,
a project right now as well, and
word,
that
word.
that project is more centered. It's more like reggaeton and I don't know. That was just when Suze came out, it just got real crazy, and that
Yeah,
like really got everybody going. Obviously, Suze is extremely talented. That was probably one of my favorite parts. Outside of doing obviously my own songs, but bringing Suze out
yeah.
was definitely magical to say the least.
That's that's beautiful. No, the energy is
Yeah,
crazy. I think that's one of the other things I've noticed being at the forefront outside of just like the intentionality you put into everything you do. I think that energy is just always there, even if it's like turned down a little, even the song's a little more mellow. It's just like you're attacking it
yeah,
in a way that just brings just it demands attention. And I wonder,
yeah.
has your music always been like that, or is that something you had to learn?
That's actually so funny. We're talking about this right now. Like I was just at like with some family right now, and they were asking me like quite like literally these same exact questions. Um, is two things, two parts of that question. One is like I'm not gonna make a song, spend hours making this song, and then showtime come around. I'm gonna be on the mic like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not
Right,
gonna
right, right, right.
stay in one spot, stay quiet. Like I'm here to, like I said, like I was telling my family earlier, is like performing. In my opinion, is kind of almost like the pinnacle of music. Like that's like the pinnacle of your song, of your creation, because now you have everybody there, and not only that, you're incorporating the theatrics of like the song, the performance. You're bringing this song fully like to life at its peak. Um, so yeah, and then going back though, as far as performing, I've always looked up to like, the Tylers, the Kanyes, the ASAP Rockies, Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? So even Cardi, like, and all of them, Travis, especially, like, all of them have always brought out extreme energy, and that was probably the my favorite. At the end of the day, music is really just frequencies. We're just
Yeah.
experiencing these frequencies that flow together harmoniously. So
Mm,
it's like, how can we get that? To how can we get that at its finest? So
right,
it's like,
right.
yeah, that's like my first performance ever. I was at like a skate park, and I was never, the thing is, like I said, I never wanted to go out there with the intention of looking shy, because that's the last thing I want to do. I want to
Yeah.
be like, yo, if I'm on stage, everybody has to look at me or look at us,
Right,
because
right.
now
Demand the
I'm
attention. Yeah,
representing what I've been working on. So yeah, that's something like, and then through as time went on, like I picked up from my friends performing, like watching Fritz, watching Rara, watching
yeah,
Fiji, watching how they move throughout the crowd, how they
yeah,
talk to the crowd, watching Yanni, like everybody, like I always pick up, and not only from them, like the people on the top, like at the very highest level. You know what I'm saying? Not that we're under them in any way, but they're already at they're very successful with it. So watching them, studying them.
Yeah, that's amazing because I think it kind of goes to my next point about you and just your love for collaboration. And I was wondering, just listening to some other interviews, you mentioned that your father had a big part to play in kind of your introduction to music. So I wonder if that kind of family connection bled really like seamlessly into your love for creating those bonds with other musicians.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like literally, right now, I'm in my studio right now. Look, that's a
Yeah,
picture of
right,
me and my dad right
right,
there. I got
right.
it. Friend and my cousin made that for me. So it's like,
Wow,
and you can't see it in this picture, but he's rocking the Big Pun Capital Punishment cover art the day I was
wow. So
born.
the
So it's
music
like,
was, yeah, music in there.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it's always like this studio is like built by him, built by my uncle Lewis. Like, so you got like he's Puerto Rican, so got the Puerto Rican flag. Like he
Yeah,
says,
yeah,
he makes sure he's like, yo, you gotta represent. So
yeah.
but yeah, no, family definitely like going into the studio at 8 years old, or even before that, 5 years
Wow,
old, watching my dad write.
wow.
Like I was always there watching him. So even me being a kid, it's like he would still listen to what I had to say, because I feel like, a lot of people say it's like, yo, if a kid tells you you look ugly, it's like, damn. It's like a kid tells you you look good, it's like, okay, yeah, I know I'm looking good right now because this
Right,
kid
right,
is gonna be brutally honest with me. So it's the equivalent. It's like I'm in the studio, he's asking me, how does this sound? I'm like, yeah, this sounds great. I love it. This is my favorite song
right.
ever. So it's like, yeah, that definitely does trickle down, fast forward into me loving to collaborate with people, because it's like from the very moments that I watched music be created, I was a part of, it was collaboration already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
So yeah.
So were you interested in music, I guess, from like the child's perspective? Were you interested in it from just solely like my family is doing this is what I want to do, this is where I want to go? Or were there a moment where you were like, all right, this is kind of in my blood, but I'm gonna try to do something else, and you made your way back to this? Like, what was that kind of pathway like?
Okay, that's a great question. So and I feel like it happened very naturally.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I played baseball. That was my
Mm,
first thing. I was like, I
right.
want to play baseball. I come like my everybody in my family, well, at least on my dad's side, is like his dad played baseball. Like he made it to like the AAA of like baseball
Word.
for the
Wow.
Phillies. He played for the AAA
Wow.
team for the Phillies. My dad played baseball. So growing up, I'm around everybody plays baseball. Also, it's like a Puerto Rican thing. You know what I'm saying? Very.
Mm,
So I grew up playing sports, and that was my first thing: sports, baseball. Eventually, though, since I had a studio in my house, coincidentally, by the grace of God,
right, right.
I had the opportunity to dabble in creation, like time and time again. It's like we would be at these family parties, and then it's like my friends coming through, and we're like, yo, you got a studio, like let's make music. And
Yeah,
then it's like me going on Pro Tools, asking my dad at 11, 12 years old, hey, can you put this beat on Pro Tools for me real quick? Can you just
yeah,
record us, or can you just teach me how to record? And then it's like he shows me how to click R, and now I
yeah.
know how to record. um
That's hard.
and yeah, so it started off at just like fun, completely fun. We're just
Yeah.
having fun with it. And fast forward, through time, as we draw music, that's when I started to take it more serious. That's when my friends started to
Yeah.
take it more serious, when we started getting more um when we started getting more traction. So
Mhm.
it was never something like, nothing in my life has ever been because of a family member telling me to do something. I think my family is very lenient, or they're very understanding of whatever I want to do. They're very supportive. They're like, yo, whatever you do, just make sure you, like, if I'm not in that studio, there's been times I come home and I just go to my room. He's like,
Yeah.
yo, what are you doing in your room right now? Go to the studio's right there. You don't even
Yeah,
gotta go
yeah.
nowhere. Just walk.
That's
And I'm
interesting.
like, yo, chill. I just finished shooting 5 different music videos, a short film. I just came from the gym. I just want to chill for 2 seconds. I'm gonna make a song in like 30 minutes. Just
Right.
please. I got video. Like this man will send me videos. He's like, "Yo, where the fuck you at? What the fuck you doing right now? Get in this fucking studio. I'm not playing with you."
No
And I'm like,
peace.
"Yo, I'm coming. I'm coming."
That's crazy, but
No,
that like
it's real serious.
that's that's funny because
Yo,
then like I feel like in my life, there's a like recently, I think I'm going through this patch where I'm trying to figure out how I'm fitting into like my friend groups because in my friend groups, I think I'm kind of the only one or one of the few who's doing that kind of creative track or kind of doing the thing where it's like I can't be out all the time because I got to do this and kind of for myself being the dad and the thing like all right you
Mm-hmm.
spend a couple hours chilling now it's time you gotta edit or you gotta research you gotta do it
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
being surrounded by so many creators I wonder for you have you ever had to face that thing from them where it's like y'all are out and you just gotta be like, nah, we gotta tap in, or is it different having so much creative energy around you that it kind of feeds you in a different way?
Yes, it's both. It's literally both because since I've always been surrounded by so many people, it's like some people will be chilling,
Right,
doing whatever. Some people are
right,
like, "Yo, let's go." We're like, "Yo, you gotta. We have a photo shoot at 5 o'clock. It's 4:30.
yeah,
Where you at? We gotta go right now.
right,
You're
right,
not on the way. Where you at? Oh, you got the
right,
like. Others is like, I'll call them. Yo, where you at? I'm chilling right now. I was like, yo, hey, I haven't seen you in the studio in a little minute. You gotta. I haven't heard a
right,
beat from you in about a week. Where the beat
yeah,
at? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You haven't sent me no new mixes. Where the mixes at?
right, right,
So
right,
it's like we take and we give from each other. So that's how it's always been. And since it's been a big collective, it's always been like the yin and the yang. We keep each other balanced. Sometimes we
right,
got it. We're humans at the end of the day.
yeah,
Sometimes we may need a little break. Sometimes
right,
but other times it's like even when you're taking that break, it's like that one person on the side, like, yo, remember, don't get too comfortable in this little break. We
right,
still
right,
working. We still got a lot more. We're nowhere near done.
right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so good to keep like you said those people around you have that balance and that kind of duality and kind of going into the next kind of question for you. I know you are a very, very, very like I was saying when we first came in the call, I was getting upset at how good this one line in the code was. Like I was literally riding around today and I was picking up some food from the store and I literally stopped and I just kept repeating it. When the flower blooms, it's never in a competition.
In a competition,
And I
that's
just
the
kept
realest shit I wrote.
like I was like, this is crazy because
Thank
that's
you.
just it's just the truth. And I love the story and the kind of the mythos behind that whole song. And I kind of want to get
Yeah.
into that. But then I want to ask you the question of how do you in your mind see yourself as Rock the producer and Rock the rapper? Is there any separation or is it one and the same?
So I was just thinking about that today, literally,
Mm,
because
mm,
like I said, we have me and Suze and Dex, like we're working on this project. But I kind of took the producer seat on this project because my Spanish is not that good for me to
got you.
be singing in Spanish or rapping in
Yeah,
Spanish. Obviously,
yeah.
I can understand, but to be the lead vocalist is like a little bit more of a difficult task for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think both I value both almost equally. It's like a 49% producer, 51% artist because I still have
Yeah,
the
it's right there.
artist ego to me. So it's like
Right,
I'm like,
right.
yeah,
Mm.
but I still bodied this shit though.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? Or damn, I wish I got on this shit because I would have bodied it. So
Right,
it's like
right.
it's like a 49%, 51%. But I
Yeah,
love producing. That was like the first thing I did.
yeah.
So producing has always been, regardless, I can make a beat for anybody. That's like the superpower about it, is like I
Right.
could work
It's a
with
flex, yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
I could work with and even with the engineering. Me and Dex say it all the time. They're gonna have to say no to me working with somebody like 5 times.
Mm,
Oh no, we
mm.
don't want your vocals on the song. We don't want your beat on the song. We don't want your engineering. We don't want your hands in the studio helping set up. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna have to say no to us a whole bunch of times before we have to leave the room. You
Right,
know what I'm
right, right,
saying?
right.
Before the people in the higher ups are like, no, we really don't need you. So
Yeah,
I've always been a very big on just having as much knowledge as possible to be extremely
yeah,
self-sufficient. Obviously,
yeah.
I love working with people, but I want to be able to rely on myself.
Right.
So yeah, kind of steered off the question slightly, but
Nah, bro, that's
definitely
this
an
the perfect platform for
artist a
that.
little. artist a little bit over production.
Yeah,
And
that,
engineering, I
that
would probably put that at the bottom.
yeah, that's still crazy because I think a lot of people, especially in today's kind of climate, I feel like I talk about this a lot on the show of just artists having to be multifaceted, and I think it's different when somebody is working on it. And for you, seemingly, it just seems so much of yourself is present in the music, in the production, even when you produce from other people. It's like it's a different energy. Like you can be in them like the trap pockets, but it's still like there's a different flow to it. Like you can hear in the drums, it's like okay, this I can hear the influences are a little different, but it's still informed by what you say in your rap. So it's really cool for that. And I think
Yeah.
um again listening to the code and just seeing how much other disciplines and even your faith have impacted your life. Like I just wondered how much time you give to those things in your life that aren't necessarily uh visually
Music with.
creative. Just yeah, just
Yeah,
like
I
just
think
yeah.
it's still, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like it's still creation to a certain extent, because it's like I'm
Mhm.
still creating my relationship with
Right,
God. You know what I'm
right,
saying? This
right,
is, even speaking can be
right.
a form of creation, because I have to come up with the words. I have to think.
Yeah,
Even thinking is creation. You know what I'm saying? I'm creating the thoughts in my
yeah,
head.
yeah.
Even though it's also like, in a sense, it's like a radio. Your brain is like a radio, but that's like me like steering off into a different subject. But everything is creation. Us
Yeah.
literally being alive in this world is a product of creation. We're active, we're creators. Literally, like that's what God made, that's what God intended. We're creators, we're made in God's image. So um definitely 100%, that is a daily thing, thanking God every day,
Mhm,
even if
mhm.
it's for a second, because sometimes, I'll be busy, and everybody has the times where they're busy, but I always make sure to like have that mental second where it's like, thank you God for just
Yeah.
everything, for being on this interview, being on the other interview, being healthy, being in the house that I'm in, being with my family. You know what I'm saying? Seeing my family healthy. There's a lot of things to be grateful for. It's a lot of things that could go wrong. I just rather say thank you in advance and be grateful, because it's
Mm.
like, when you're sick, you'll have
Yeah.
a you'll be sick, and then you'll be like, damn, I miss those days when I
Right.
could breathe out my nose properly. And then
Exactly.
it's like I
Yeah.
didn't appreciate when my nose
When
was
you had it.
when I was breathing out my nose properly. So
Yeah.
it's the little things. It's like, yo, I'm just grateful I could breathe right now calmly. I don't
Right.
even gotta be
Right.
sniffling. You know what I'm saying? So 100%. And it impacts my art as well, because I don't want my message to be altered in a way, or to
Mhm.
be misinterpreted, where
Yeah.
people will be like, "Oh, he's, doing something negative." My whole thing is like
Right.
being a positive inspiration or
Yeah.
impact or whatever.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Being a
That's
positive force on somebody.
right. That's super it comes through super clear again talking to or speaking to rather the intentionality behind what you do and I think just with the recent single off the project that you released that's coming out soon. Um just reading the kind of description for the song, I was like, "Oh, this is like you're thinking levels ahead of just like this is just a song. This is like talking about the color. You're talking about how it relates to you. Talking about again diving it back into your faith. And I wonder, as strong as you said, as strong as you believe, um, and as strong as you practice daily, was there ever any hesitation for sharing that side of yourself or um, putting it into the music as much as you have and just kind of maybe another question is like how has that evolved through your youth? How has that come to where it
Okay.
is now?
So my first project with UOC
Yeah.
was called Offend the Public, and my main inspirations back then were, and till this day, but I use
Mhm.
those inspirations in a different way.
Yeah.
Odd Future, in even at the time of this was like 2018 or
Mhm. Mhm.
2017. Offend the pub. I mean, members only. So Offend the
Yeah.
Public was the project. So imagine how if the project's called Offend the Public, what do
Right.
you think the
Right.
topics
Right.
are? So I'm trying to be edgy. I'm trying to, like,
Yeah.
I personally didn't say anything, but I remember having Fritz in the studio being like, "Yo, you got to say bomb, 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 bomb. So it's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
like, yo, wow, I can't believe he fucking said that shit right now.
Right, right.
That was the goal at first, and then I
Yeah.
realized it's like, yo, this doesn't even reflect. When I made music
Mm.
when I was younger, it wasn't a reflection of who I was as a person. It was more just creative expression, having fun, because I wasn't thinking about how is my music going to be perceived by other people. Not that I care about how my music is perceived by other people, but I realized that my music is a reflection of myself, and even though I may have dark aspects to myself, like we all do, I don't want to be necessarily a dark, a dark
Overall.
influence. Like I said, I don't
Yeah.
want to be perceived like dark, because that's
Right.
not me. I'm
Right.
I resonate more with light. I resonate
Mhm.
more with,
Mhm.
positive vibrations. So
Yeah.
earlier in the music, it was definitely more negative. I was definitely talking about more destructive things.
Mm.
Then I
Mm.
realized this is not a reflection of me. I'm definitely a much nicer person. I'm definitely a much more pensive. Like I think more than just fucking, oh, I'm gonna shoot you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Saying some stupid
Yeah.
shit. Oh, I'm gonna fuck your
Yeah.
bitch. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
That's not me. Um, I rather express myself in and the people who I would give credit to for that as well is like Gianni, and he just dropped his project.
Mm.
Gianni, I remember being in the studio with Gianni and Rara, and they were like, "Yo,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't even do that. Like, why? Like this is cap." And
Right.
I'm like, "Of course
Right.
it's cap. This is we're just having fun." And then,
Right.
but
Playing
they're
character kind of. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like, we're just having fun, bro. Obviously, this is
Yeah.
cap. I don't do any of this. But they're like, yeah,
Mhm.
but we should actually like, we're taking it a little more serious, bro. We should like think about this a little bit more. And I'm like, at first I was more on the fence. I was like, I don't know. I feel like we're just having fun, bro. It's not that serious. I could just say anything on these songs. Fast forward, I started thinking, I'm like, yeah, we should actually definitely be more realistic, because when my kids hear this in the future, my parents hear this, somebody else hears this, they're gonna think I'm a whole different person. You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Right. Right.
And I rather just be honest, because I think at the end of the day, being you is the best thing that you can be.
Yeah.
You're the only you on this earth. So I rather just
Exactly.
express myself as who I am,
Yeah.
and that's it.
That's even when you're not rapping, you dropping bars. It's crazy. It's
Hey,
crazy for
thank you, bro,
it's
Zay.
it's insane. It's insane, dog. And I think again, the I just want to know how, like, when you're going into creating a song, what does that look like? Are you visualizing everything to the end? Like, all right, this is how this is gonna be
Yes,
promoted. That's okay. Okay,
100%.
that's crazy. How are you able to maintain that and replicate that so many times? Because that's like
Look,
I know it's a lot to do.
I'll give you a very minor representation of that. This
Word,
is my
word.
studio right here. Like
Yeah,
my computer is right here. I will be
yeah,
making this song. Next thing you know, I'm like, I'll get up, I'll be like, oh shit.
yeah,
Then I'll stand up and I'll start turning up and I'll start
yeah.
performing mumbles.
Uh,
I'll be like, whatever. No, 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 no. And then I'll
yeah,
be like, I'll get in. Then that's when I get in the studio, record it, come out. I'm turning up again. Then I'm like, yo, damn, the video for this will be bomb, 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 bomb. Or damn, this works for this. I have a board right here for all the albums that I'm working on currently. I'm like, this goes to this album and this goes to this album. And
all the
I could,
albums. Goodness.
yeah, I'm always trying to give us these songs homes.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of stray songs. I don't like singles too much. I rather
yeah.
just put them in the album. Not that I'm against
Mm,
singles, but I
mm.
just rather have them in a body of work. So yeah, I'm thinking of everything, and especially if I'm in the studio with somebody like Fritz or Dex, where those are and Blade and Fiji, like all of us. When I'm in the studio with them, we're thinking that we're already thinking levels ahead of
Right,
everything.
right.
This is not for every single song, of course, because some songs are
Yeah,
different, some vibes are different, but I would say for the majority of the time, I'm thinking of as much as possible. I'm at least down to the simplistic concepts. And I have people like Sugar, for example, Free Sugar Creative
mm,
Services.
mm.
Shout out to Free Sugar Creative
Yeah, yeah.
Services, who creative directs. I give him a concept, he gives it back to me, then we bounce back off of each other like that. But I still obviously I'm creative at the end of the day, and I still always provide something to the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's times where like a song like Sacral, like I was stuck. I'm like, yo, when I made this song, all I was thinking about was turning the fuck up when I
Mhm.
perform this shit. That's
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
That's all that went
Mhm.
through my mind. I could tell you maybe a
Yeah.
couple colors that I felt, but
Right.
outside of that, I can't really provide you with much because this song only gave me this much.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's that's amazing. Even with the answers, I think is very very clear. You know where you are and who you are in your creations, and I wonder, just kind of in the area you grew up in, was there a lot of examples of people doing what you do, um, or did you ever have the inkling, as a lot, I feel like a lot of Floridians do at some point, of like, I need to go outside of my home to do this, or where you're just like, this is my support group, this is who I'm moving with, this is who I'm growing with.
that's a 50-50% question because
Hmm.
obviously I stick with everybody who I started off with, and it was definitely done by design by God. Everybody
Yeah,
I
yeah,
met, having a studio in my house, this was all like set up. Like
yeah.
I didn't even fucking, it just all fell in my hands.
Right,
Me meeting
right.
Fritz, me meeting Rara, me meeting Fiji. But at the same time, I still need to leave and meet new people in order to expand.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love working with Fritz and Rara and Dex, I still need to work with Suze, for example. Even Suze is like,
Mm,
I
mm,
haven't, this is a whole new person.
yeah.
I recently met Suze. Well, I've known Suze from school, but we
Right, right,
recently
right.
started working, and now that's even expanding me to other crowds.
Yeah.
But even with Suze is bringing artists from Puerto Rico on the album that I wouldn't have known without
Right,
Suze. Now we
right,
have
right,
people from PR coming into the picture.
right, right.
So yeah, you need to collaborate. Collaboration with people from different cities is, in my opinion, essential.
Yeah.
But keeping the people that you started with is also essential because you need that strong foundation. You need that
Right,
strong circle
right.
around you at all times.
Yeah, yeah. I think with me, I think coming from being kind of in the offskirts of the Broward scene, and now more recently going down to like Kendall and Homestead and just like downtown, just trying to figure out and meet people, because I feel like a lot of people, through like mutuals, like, oh, this person, oh, this person, oh, this person, or you see somebody like, ah, okay, cool, but it's always good to get that face to face, because it feels like a kind of reintroduction. Like, okay, now we're really putting this together. Now we really can chop it up and try to
Definitely.
do something. Yeah, it's a different vibe completely. Um, and
No, 100%. I feel like meeting people is definitely it's essential in forming relationships because having a relationship is online is different from actually vibing with somebody in person.
100%. And it's funny because I think, like, the generation of people having such access to the internet and then going through the pandemic, I feel like it's difficult for a lot of people coming out of that to still get, like, I feel like the scene gratefully, like, kind of has reacted in a very positive way, because now I feel like there's a lot of energy coming into it, because like we haven't been able to collab or just dance
Yeah,
in front of each other for a while.
factual. That is so. You took the thought out of my head. I was thinking that last night. I was like,
Yeah,
yo, if it might have been this morning. I was like, yo, I haven't seen this year has been really good for shows.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I don't know if it's because maybe I'm getting traction. Obviously, it has to do with that. I'm
Right,
starting to get like with everything the rollout of the campaign for Speed of Light.
right.
But simultaneously, it's like all the shows I've been to. I think to myself, these shows are run well. Everything's go. All the people are here,
Yeah,
you know, and all the other shows, even the ones that I don't go to, I see in them, and I feel the same way. I think the
right.
same thing.
Yeah, like, they're getting coverage. I think people are, like, they had time to, like, really cook them ideas and be like, this, okay, this is how we're showing this, how we're broadcasting this, and it's just cool again to see so many familiar faces in a way that I feel like just wasn't happening before. And um I think in
And I
that
feel like
way.
more
Yeah.
people. So, sorry to cut you off. I feel
No,
like
you
more
good, you
people
good.
are coming out. More
Yeah,
people are coming out to the shows now for sure. Because
yeah,
I remember starting in 2018, 2019 with these shows and having 100 people come. and me
Yeah.
thinking that that was like a good thing.
Right.
And I remember my friend Gio, who recently moved to Atlanta, he said a bad show in Atlanta is 400 people. A
Oh,
great show is like 600 people,
wow.
which blew my mind because
Yeah.
over here a great show is like 400 people.
Right, right, right.
But now we're having average great shows 300 people
Right,
every
right.
time I go
Yeah,
to these shows. It's like
yeah,
250, 300 people in attendance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
think like people just know what they want now, I think, and they want to feel that energy. And I think sometimes in the kind of moving to the rollout that you're doing, which has been amazing. It's been really cool to see. I think the the amazing ability to have something that's tangible being music and then present them with that piece of entertainment and then connect that to the show and have everything be so consistent. Because I think sometimes you see somebody who's like kind of starting up and maybe one part isn't there all the way, but I feel like to have it.
all the wheels aren't together yet.
Right, right, right. And that comes with time and experience and a lot
Of
of
course.
messing up and doing all those things. But I think now there's a lot more grace and a lot more people just like, all right, they from the town. We gonna help them out. We gonna support them until they get
Definitely.
there. Yeah,
Rara said the same thing this year. He said we haven't run into nobody that we haven't fucked with. Everybody this year that we've worked with in the past year has been very genuine. At least that's how
yeah.
we feel right now.
Right, right, right.
And I believe it's because like you said, people are hungry now. They're like, yo, everyone's on the same tip. All the creatives are on the same tip right now,
Yeah,
in my opinion. That
yeah,
we got to get this we got to get this ball rolling.
yeah, yeah. It's really cool. I think starting this show, I feel like this is the first year that I'm really been able to invest the right amount of time and energy and just output into the show. But like seeing you like work with people like Phoenix, like that was one of the first people who came on the show like 3 4 years ago, and just seeing where
Really?
yeah, like that, like it's like
Wow.
funny things like that just happen, like 7497, the homie, like all these people who
Yeah.
are now moving like really crazy. And I think it's a blessing because the premise of what I do is just to share genuine connection with other people who love what I love, who love
Of
the art
course.
and who love to talk about it and breathe it, and that's the whole thing with art is air.
Mhm.
And I think that being the fundamental point of connection for people, like you said, makes it more genuine. Because it's like I'm not coming to you because I need some bread or I need
Something.
some. Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, what can we share? What conversation? That's why I always leave with like this is a conversation, not an interview. Because I know I'm gonna leave with something
Yeah.
from you. Hopefully, you leave with something from me. If not, the product is gonna share with somebody and they're gonna learn from that.
Yeah.
So it's like it's amazing.
And yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Let's not even just limit it to just us two. This is a
Exactly.
conversation for the world. Anybody can
Exactly.
stumble upon this at any given moment and take
Yeah.
something of value from it.
Yeah. 100%.
And the same applies to music. The same applies to music. An artist may not pop off right when they first start. We Perfect example was a lot of these samples that we're taking from these soul records in the 60s,
Yeah.
70s,
Yeah.
50s. These artists, when they created these songs, they weren't thinking somebody's going to sample me in
Right.
the future because the
Right.
technology was limited at that time.
Yeah.
They're not thinking past that. They're just expressing themselves positively at that very moment and giving it to the universe, giving it to God, and it comes right back in tenfold in the future. That's how
100%.
that's how it goes.
100%. I think that's the like you said the most beautiful thing about sampling. Because I think that's the when I was doing more production, that was where I was sitting, just kind of in that sample kind of structure. And I think treating that music with reverence and not approaching it just like, oh, I'm about to flip this, it's about to go crazy, I'm about to get some bars off, but like, all right, this person put that energy, like you said, into this.
I got to match that.
Exactly. I gotta match that, then push it to this other place. Somebody's gonna find it, be
Hmm.
like, man, like that. Let me, because I think that's the beauty of rap, just in general, and art that is referential. It's like you're picking up pieces and things maybe the original artist didn't see. It's like
Of
y'all
course.
y'all chopped that sample in a way I hadn't heard it before,
Yeah.
and so
No,
I'm like,
and that was another thing too.
yeah,
That song, just going back to specifically the code, we
yeah,
did that song like 2 years ago. And then
yeah,
that next thing you know is the game drops his version with that
right,
sample
right,
or the
right,
same
right, right,
beat.
Yeah.
You have Ketranada, Ketramine do the same sample, and I feel like
Right.
another artist did use that sample as well.
Yeah.
But that's
Like.
that's just a common thing. That's a common thing that's happened. Steering off side conversation. That's a common thing that's happened to me since I started making music. I remember I did a chord progression in like 2018 for a song from ULC called Handouts, and it sounded
Mm,
very similar to what was it? The song with Thug on Die Lit.
mm,
I forgot the name of the song right now, but it sounded extremely similar. Obviously, I grabbed inspiration from Cardi on that song,
right.
but then
Right. Right.
hearing the same exact
Right.
chord progression, I'm
Right.
like, oh shit. Then fast forward, it's like a couple other artists doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's a byproduct of when you're constantly in a space of creation. You're
Yeah.
in that you're constantly picking up those frequencies
Yeah. Yeah.
daily.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get an idea. I said in the last interview, if I get an idea and I don't act on it immediately, somebody else is taking
Oh.
it right away.
Oh my goodness. It's the funniest thing ever because it's like you'll hear it and you're like, oh yeah, y'all kind of went crazy. I might not have been able to do it like that. Y'all kind of did that.
Yes, it's another just steering
Yeah. Yeah.
off
Yeah.
into this for
Yeah.
one small second.
No, you got it. Yeah.
Me and Fritz, we talked about in the future opening up restaurants. He wanted a Haitian styled Chipotle called Bon Manger,
Word.
and I was like, "Yo, that's a great idea." Next thing you know, I'm in Wynwood, or he's in Wynwood. He's like, "Yo, guess what restaurant I went to?" I was like, "Where'd you go?" He's like, "Manger."
Uh,
It's a Haitian style Chipotle. I'm like, "Yo, we just had this conversation about this shit 6 months ago," and I
yeah. They
tell
was.
my dad, he's like, "You see what happens?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yo, I was supposed to open up. We were supposed to open up a restaurant. Like, I,
Immediately.
if it was that easy, we would have did
Right.
it."
No, man, that's crazy. Oh, that's funny. Though. Like but yeah, it's like yeah, it's so interesting. I think the creative process and seeing other people do it, and I think I think this year specifically, I've been sitting in a place of less judgment of output of things because I think, and I think you mentioned this in your other interview of picking like or like having times to let certain things rock and not trying to do too many things at one time. And
Yeah,
before it felt like I was doing a disservice to my craft of being a person who can do the production and the mixing and the writing and da 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 da
hmm
da. And I was like, I'm losing a part of myself, but it was actually just like I can strengthen the whole body at one time and do it in a smart way, but it felt like I was losing a part of myself. And I know for you, you do so many things. How did you get into that mindset of like I'm gonna focus on this, I'm gonna focus on that at different times?
that is a great question.
Bless you, bless
Like I said, everything in my life, thank God,
you.
has been by. I can't even make it. I started making beats at 12 for fun. I
Yeah,
wasn't making because I started f- doing it as a thing of just having fun.
yeah. Right.
I wasn't pressured at 12 years old. I
Mm,
have to be better than somebody. I was just thinking, oh, this is making these beats is so much fun.
yeah,
I love making beats. I'm
yeah,
just gonna make these beats.
yeah.
Oh wait, I want to rap on these beats.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then I'm a rap. Again, I'm not like I said in the code. When the flower blooms is never in a competition. I was not competing with nobody. I was just like, yo, I'm just expressing myself how God
Right,
created me in a way to express myself through music.
right.
And I was never at a point where I was rushing to be at a certain level because I started at such a young age,
Yeah.
especially on the DAWs, like on GarageBand, on Logic. I started on Logic at 14 years old, and I started writing at I wrote my first song at like 8 years old.
Wow.
Funny enough, my first song that I ever wrote was a diss track against this kid in my elementary school.
At 8 years old?
Um, at 8 years old for
That's
some
crazy.
reason. And look, I'm gonna be very transparent with you right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
I was an 8 year old kid, so I'm
yeah,
gonna just say this right here.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't like how he walked around in school. He kind of always walked like this, so it just pissed me off. So I just made a diss track on him.
If that's not the
That's
bonus
that's
track
really
on the new project, I'm gonna be hot.
Yo, that was the first thing I wanted to ever say on a song. I
That's
wanted to express myself. That again, music is expression, artist expression, and that's
right.
just how I chose to express myself that day.
When you
It
get
may
that
have
Grammy, you
not
gotta
been
bring mans on the
I
stage just
gotta
to be like, "Hey,
yo,
we here."
yo, everybody thank this man right here, man. Little crook neck.
He gonna have to be okay with it. He gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, you got a Grammy, bro." Like,
You got a
we
Grammy,
we
bro.
saw it
Fuck
through
it.
it. It's whatever. It's whatever.
Yo,
Uh,
sidetrack. This is like
yeah,
me. So I don't know if you're familiar with baseball in any way. They gave the Cubs were in the World Series. Point is, they end up losing because this
yeah,
guy interfered with one of the Cubs outfielders catching the ball. He caught it before the player could catch it,
yeah,
and they ended up losing the World Series that year. And the Cubs didn't win a World Series for fucking forever. When I don't know if they banned him. Everybody in fucking Chicago hated this guy.
that's wild.
So fast forward to when the Cubs win the World Series,
Yeah,
they give him they give him like a ring for winning the championship. But it's like, bro, what the fuck are you giving him the? And then
right.
he pulls up to get the ring, and this man is like, me and Rara always say this. He gets the ring and he's so dry. Like his equivalent to it was like him receiving the ring.
Yeah,
Here's the World Series ring. He's like, bet, bro. Puts
nah,
that shit on and just walks out. That was the
nah,
equivalent. So
nah.
anytime somebody like I forgot what we were talking about right now, but that just made me fucking bring that up.
That's
It's like, oh yeah,
after
the
all of
Grammy.
that,
This
the man's
dude,
like, "Yeah,
yeah, yeah, bet, bro. Thanks, I
yeah, cool.
guess.
All right then." Nah,
Appreciate it, bro.
that's right. Okay, so that kind of brings me to another point. How do you take people love like being so big fans of your work? Like when somebody comes up to you and like, "Yo, like you really killed this on here, like you did this there," like they're speaking to how kind of like how I was geeking again, crazy line. How I was geeking out over that line. Just like how does that feel to hear people taking in your work?
I mean, it feels, as you could imagine, it feels great because
Yeah,
to think that the work that I put in it. My whole goal is to move somebody, to make somebody want to do something better for themselves. So if
right,
I'm able to
right.
provide that in any way, shape, or form, I'm content. And at the same time, it's like Sifu had said when making that song or being in Shuhari Do, not that he said you have to change your definition of success,
Mhm.
but I took that in the way where it was like I have to be appreciative of the smallest thing, because even me influencing Blade to start making music is an
Yeah,
accomplishment in itself. Me
yeah,
influencing Dex to continue making music, me doing something for anybody in the smallest way, in the biggest way. I had the power to change some of the lives around me.
right,
Thankfully, obviously, this is
right,
all through God,
right.
but at the same time, it's like I'm grateful for all that. Even if it's not a trillion streams right now,
Mhm,
I'm grateful
mhm.
for every single thing. Even if
Yeah,
it's something with my friends, even if it's
yeah,
something a singular bar in a song,
yeah.
anything I'm grateful for.
Yeah, that's yeah, man. It's such a great attitude to have. And that makes me more excited for this project, and I want you to kind of speak to because I know you got a lot planned for it that that has been maybe under wraps. But explain to me the thought process because I know this project has been in the works for a minute, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So kind of
Yes,
explain to me
for
that timeline and then where we're at right now.
to keep it abysmal, like me and Dex say, to keep it really scrilly. I've been working on this project my whole life, if you think about it,
Word,
but
word,
I started really working on it. The first inklings of working on it, the
yeah,
first seeds started in 2019.
word,
In March 2019 with the first song I made off the project called You Said. Right now it's going to be on it. It could change. Maybe I'll put it on the deluxe. I might do a deluxe. I don't know.
word,
But it starts with that song, and initially I wanted it to be a little bit more like medieval type vibe, because that was like the first songs that I made. A lot of the song, even with Sit
mm-hmm,
Straight has like a more European medieval vibe.
yeah,
That's kind
yeah,
of what I was going for.
yeah,
And I have like another song or two or a couple of beats that I made that never I never really did anything with that were sounding very medieval. Then
Mm.
fast forward, I remember after finishing the project with UOC Forest Fire, releasing it, I tell everybody in UOC, I'm like, yo, guys, right now I'm going to be focusing on everything for Roc Chamberlin myself. I have to be selfish for this very moment just
Yeah.
so I can figure out how I can go about my sound.
Yeah.
So I remember making a whole bunch of songs, and I think the only song right now that made it that's still on the project was the very first song that I did, which was Cold. I did Language. That was like the first single that I dropped under Roc Chamberlin, which was initially the project is about chakras, which I kind of spoiled the thing right now, but
Mm.
that song was gonna be Language was gonna be for the throat chakra,
Mm.
obviously
Mm.
language, speaking,
Right. Right.
whatever. But it didn't work for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I remember being with my girl and like, yo, I've made like a whole bunch of songs. I'm in the studio. It's not like I have a problem creating anything, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out the idea for this album, which usually takes about a month for me, 2 months. At the same time, you got to let life happen.
Right.
But she had gotten a tattoo of all the chakras on her wrist,
Mm.
and we
Mhm.
were at this restaurant 107 Taste by FIU, and I remember this is like 2021, and me looking staring at her tattoo, and I'm like, yo, I really like how that looks on your wrist.
Mm.
Imagine an album about chakras. No,
Mm.
I've never heard an album about chakras,
Yeah.
and I think that would be so cool. And I had the idea of making, really, my dad gave me the idea simultaneously. Again, everything is always in divine timing. I was taking a class at that time, theater appreciation. I was learning about plays.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, my dad tells me, yo, you should make a project based on a play.
Mm.
He has no idea what song, like I'm in a class for
Right.
theater
Right. Right.
appreciation. Again,
Yeah.
my dad is very creative. He's like, yo, you should make an album about a play. Like you should
Yeah.
figure out how you can do a play. And I'm like, yo, imagine an album about chakras that's a play, and it has to deal with my life. This is my first project, a coming of age
Uh.
story, me leveling up through the chakras, and then I can express that sonically very easily. It can start
Yeah.
off. It's a coming of age story, so I could start off. My chakras are disrupted in the beginning, and then as it goes, it's like a positive reflection of a positive expression of my chakras. So and that's also kind of how it somewhat flows naturally in a way in my head. But yeah, so that's pretty much how it came about. And sonically, through time, it was like I write the track list beforehand. So I wrote
Mm.
the track list out, and then it's like I make a beat for uh let's say the crown chakra. Then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the crown. This is crown,
Right.
whatever. And then I'm like, wait, no, this is the crown. And I'm like, wait, no, this is it.
Right.
And then
Right.
next thing you
Right.
know, it ends up being a. Then next thing you know, I'm like, I wanted the crown to be a 10-minute song, and then I make fucking 5 songs
Yeah.
in one song, and then I'm like, actually, this is all 3 separate songs. I don't give a
Right.
fuck. So my process is it's very spread out because
Yeah.
I don't like rushing anything because
Mm.
at the end of the day I don't want, especially with this being my first project, I don't want it to be a misrepresentation of
Right.
myself,
Right. Right.
and I want the work to show for it. I
Yeah.
want everybody to like really digest everything sonically, lyrically, with the mixing,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to understand the things that I've gone through in my life, and I just want it to be something that, like I said from the beginning, everything somebody can take something out of it,
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah. Phew. Man,
So
like
yeah,
that's made me somehow even more excited for just to
yeah,
see see what happens outside of that. Because again, like I just appreciate people who go that extra mile, and I think it's even interesting to the point of on the outside, like I can do something like this, like the show Procrastination Radio. I could be doing this, putting so much time and energy into it, and somebody can come along and be like, I appreciate you doing that. And then to me, almost, it doesn't feel like I'm doing that much because it's so close to me. It just feels like, yeah, this
of
is what I'm
course.
what I'm supposed to
This is
do.
your natural,
Right.
of course, because you're expressing yourself at the highest point, at
Exactly.
your highest truest point. So
Exactly.
it's natural. That's why it doesn't feel like anything. That's why
Exactly.
even with me, it's like I'll make a song. The comments don't move me in any way. If
Yeah.
anything, I just take it into consideration. Oh,
Right.
you like this bar? Okay, well, I'll take that in consideration for my next song. Or
Yeah.
you didn't like it.
Yeah.
So the same thing applies with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's even even more beautiful finding people who I'm like, all right, yeah, like you're moving the same way, you're moving the same way. I see you, and you just can appreciate it because I feel like I was saying, like it's just good to just be like, yo, like shout out to you because you've inspired me. Like honestly, like you've inspired me today to be like, all right, I need to get back to writing because the way that your songs moved me outside of you know an album coming out, outside of anything else you have going in your life, how it touched me is just like, all right, yeah, like I need to be able to make sure I'm doing what I need to do for myself, So
Your due diligence.
exactly,
Yes,
because
sir. Thank you.
never want to look back and be like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and just kind of
Exactly.
living in the
That's
present.
that's really the key, because at the end of the day, my biggest fear is doing something that I don't want to do for the rest of my life. So
Where
I have to go as hard as possible right now to make sure that everything works in my favor.
100%, 100%. Yeah, I just am very thankful for this conversation. It feels like it moved very quickly.
Likewise.
I don't
Yes,
even
sir.
the time kind of went away, and I just kind of want to before we wrap up, just ask if there is anything on your heart or on your mind that you want to share with the people out there. Is there anything that you want to let them sit with? Um, yeah,
One thing I
anything
would
else?
want everybody to sit with is being forgiving and being understanding of everybody's situation.
Mm,
I feel like a lot of people may hold grudges on certain things, but the most important thing I feel like within yourself is to forgive people,
mm,
because you're the only one who sits with this resentment, who sits with these un, unwanted emotions. So
mm.
forgiving other people is key to leveling up in your life and expressing yourself positively and not holding unwanted weight.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's one thing I would like to share with the world currently right now. Not specifically anything going on with me personally
yeah,
that has to
yeah,
do with that, but I
yeah,
fil like that's just something that people need to understand and
yeah,
have within their hearts.
yeah. Last random question
Forgiveness.
now. Forgiveness, yeah, it's important. What is your favorite like go to meal if you hungry after the studio, you coming back home? Like
Oh
what you be going
man,
to?
I
What
have
what be getting
I
in the bag?
wow. There's so many things that I could eat. I love to eat. That's
Come
the
on,
one thing. Look, I don't drink or smoke. I spend all my money on food.
that's the
That's it.
vibe.
I love going
Word,
out to eat
word.
with my friends, with my girl, with my family. But my favorite meal might be steak and lobster.
Mm.
That's not the
See,
meal I'm gonna go to after the studio. It might be pizza. I love pizza and I could
right.
probably eat pizza every day. But I would say, yeah, steak and lobster is my favorite meal,
Word.
because you
So
got
is
land and sea, man.
steak and
That's a
steak and lobster is a combination, like at the same time.
Yes, but
Interesting.
if we want to throw a rice in there, I would throw my favorite rice is probably arroz manpoteado, which is like a Puerto Rican mixed rice.
Word.
So yeah, I'll probably say that as well.
All right, I see. I see. That's some good taste. Got some good taste
Mm,
there. But yeah, thank you.
yeah, or lamb. Yeah, yes,
Lamb.
sir.
What does lamb taste like?
You haven't had lamb?
I'm vegan. I've been vegetarian most of my life, so
Oh,
I've never
that's
had
real.
meat.
Look, I got a bar. I got a bar on the song Three Eyes Part One on the
Yeah.
album, where I say something along the lines of. Uh, I stopped eating meat because it lowers your whole vibration. I noticed that's why I'm shining and glowing. Something like that. It went something like that. Stop eating meat because I forgot.
Vegan
It went some
representation.
shit like that.
We up. We up
Yes,
though.
because
Come on.
I don't eat meat for the first 4 months of the year. I've done that for the
Word.
past 3 months. Yeah,
Word. That's hard.
I'll just be pescatarian. I'll just be pescatarian.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Fish used to
I
slap.
think definitely. Yeah, no. I think I wish I could be vegan, and I can if I put my mind to it. But I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of it has to do with me not having food enough vegan options for me
Yeah.
to sustain myself
Yeah, yeah. I think
with
I've
my
grown up
eating
with it.
habits.
Yeah, I've grown up with it, so that's like the only reason why I'm still there.
That's your
It's just like
standard. Yeah,
that's what makes sense for me. So and then like going into my first kind of job was a place where I was surrounded by vegan options. So I was like, all right, I'm kind of cementing it now. In my early adulthood, I was
that's
like,
real.
all right, this is what it is.
You
But yeah,
attracted that.
Yeah, that energy. Yeah, but lamb sound crazy though.
Yeah.
Lamb sound like that
It's like
might cut.
steak. It's like steak, but oddly enough, I don't know if you ever smelled a goat. In my opinion, it kind of has that weird scent to it, but it tastes really fucking good in my opinion.
Okay. Okay, so it's like misleading. It's like I don't know if I want to touch it, but then it's like, all right, we
You
here.
would think it's gonna be stank. The thing is, you would think it would be stank, but honestly, that shit hit. Like it's like when you have. Well, I don't know if you eat cheese, but it's like usually the
Juicy.
stankish
Yeah.
cheeses be the
Right.
best. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Hands up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yo, give me the most stank cheese. I
Yeah.
know that shit's gonna hit.
Hey, we need a food show with you. I can already tell
No,
you got
look,
some
the first thing,
secrets.
look, I don't want to drag out the convo, but look, the first thing I ever wanted to be was a chef. So yeah,
Come
just
on.
keep that in mind.
It's
Yeah,
gonna make its way back.
yeah. Oh
Second
God,
album just gonna be about food. It's
oh
only
God,
food.
that'll be a great concept.
Come on. Come on. We got it. But yes, thank
I
you
got to
so
do
much.
that. I got to do a collab project with I Like Blue about straight food shit.
Word. I gotta be
Hey,
in the music video just going like this, just cause I was here for the inception, just one time for the one time,
yes
just saying
sir.
hello, hello. But yeah, thank you so
But
much
yeah,
for
yes
coming
sir,
on and chopping it up with
yes
me. It
sir.
was a
Of course.
blessing. Thank you for doing what you do again. I think I was already a
Likewise.
big fan coming into this and even a bigger fan leaving this. So
Thank you.
hope y'all enjoyed it. Have a good
Yes
day, night,
sir.
whatever you're doing. Stop procrastinating, get after your dreams. They waiting for you.
Yes
Peace.
sir. Love. Easy.